All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Well, welcome to the first Scanco Lunch and Learn of 2023. I almost said 2022. I'm still figuring that out, writing it incorrectly on a daily basis, but we're getting there. I'm Ross Allen, one of the senior account managers, which is just a nice way of saying the old guy, sales guy here at Scanco. And appreciate you taking your time to join us today. I did the last one of 2022, so I guess it was only fitting that they have me do the 2023 version kickoff. So a couple things, we're trying to do some new things here and involve our audience a lot more. So if you are on the webinar today, you'll get an email to you anyway, but if you open it up to go to webinar, at the bottom you'll see some handouts. There is just a little PDF flyer that if you open it up, it's got 4 links embedded into it. It's an easier way to access all the information that we're going to be talking about today during our webinar. So just a quick highlight, we do these monthly, and we were glad if there's any partners on the call and you want to have one-off webinars for your customer base, we love sponsoring those and being a part of those. But as an organization, we host these monthly. We do a 30-minute lunch and learn. The whole point is to give you some topical information, whether it's on our product or highlighting something that's industry specific or something that's in the news that pertains to warehousing, manufacturing, automation, and within the world of Sage. And we love hearing, we come up with our own topics, but we love hearing suggestions from our partners and customers and vendors. So if you have anything, please let us know. You can email me directly at ross@scanco.com. And if we do happen to choose one of your topics for a future webinar, we will send you an Amazon gift card. So we do pay to play. So love participation, love ideas, and love making these things happen. So let's get the show on the road. So, the new year comes with resolutions, whether it's diets or going to the gym or, taking on a new hobby. So we set personal resolutions, but also as organizations and companies, we set organizational resolutions, and we kind of use those as the benchmark or blueprint for what we want to do for the next year as a company. So we decided for Scanco that the first way to start is on the operations side and process improvement, right? There's no perfect process in place ever within a distribution or manufacturing organization. There's always ways to improve, especially over the last couple of years. I think the majority of our customer base overwhelmingly has grown immensely. They've brought on all new workforces, new employees, they've expanded out. So we love hearing all these positive things, but included with that growth is you can't keep doing the ways you were doing things before. And a lot of that, which, never surprises me, but on a daily basis is a lot of spreadsheets and a lot of everything else. So we're going to show you 3 things today that we hope from an organizational perspective is going to, really get things going. So from an agenda perspective, we're going to be talking about, back up the slide there, our Manufacturing 100 solution, which is the automation data collection piece for both production management and operations management. The old job ops name, but I'll reference job ops quite a bit. You know that I mean operations management. If I say OM, you know I mean job ops. Production management plus, which is that make to order extension that gives our old legacy work order customers that same look and feel and kind of bridges that gap between PM, production management, and OM. We're going to be talking about day of the spa, not a spa with massages and mud masks and all that good stuff, even though as great as that sounds. It's our procurement automation piece for Scanco. We love new products. This is one of our newest ones that we've launched today. Acronyms are fun thing in our industry, so SPA is it. We're going to get to the demo piece, and we're going to get into a little bit of Q&A and pricing at the end. So as an organization, Scanco's been around since 1989. A lot of you know us already. We've been doing this a long time, but I always like to highlight for those that have never participated in one of these, a little bit about us. So for over 30 years, we have been on the forefront of developing automation needs for both warehouse and manufacturing with Sage. We're a Sage ISV. We're also an OEM. We helped write the barcode module. We were the original author of that. So our products not only live inside the warehouse or the manufacturing space, but also in the mobile world for field, sales, and service, et cetera. So we, have extended outside of those 4 walls to really kind of bridge the gap between Sage, which, don't get me wrong, I love Sage. It's the bread and butter for all of our organizations, but it's an accounting system. So, to make it a true ERP and a true WMS system or manufacturing automation system, Sage relies on companies like us to help kind of bridge those gaps between spreadsheets and manual entry and all the autonomy that we look for on a daily basis to help make our lives easier. And we bridge that gap in that real-time fit. So, a little bit about Scanco. Something I thought I'd try new as, we go through these webinars throughout the year is whoever's going to be hosting. I'd like to kind of instill a little bit about us. If you know me at a personal level, I've been here since 2012. So I'm going on my 11th year here at Scanco. A couple of us have been here that long and started right when Tess and Sean took over the organization, and absolutely love it here. So to be in a single organization for over a decade says something not only about the ownership, but the organization itself. This has become family to me, and I love working with here. Cody Smith, who's our VP of Sales, and myself, and one of our developers, Jeff, started about the same time, and we're seeing a lot more employees start celebrating their second, third, fifth, 10th. A couple of the originals have been here for over 20 years, so it's really cool to be here since then. I have a wife, Lauren, and it's our little girl, Ava, in the middle. She's 10 years old now, so I started this job 1 month before she was born. So it's pretty cool to see her kind of grow up within this. If you don't know, a fun fact about me is I've been playing bagpipes for 30 years. That's me in the top left-hand corner playing. I stay very active with it, stay busy. It's not all funerals. I'll do a lot of weddings, bat mitzvahs even, a lot of church services, but it's something I'm quite passionate about. If you've ever been to the state of Florida, a lot of the little Scottish communities spread around, so that's kind of how the whole bagpipe thing started in Florida. So there's a tie-in, trust me. I do love trivia. I host a trivia night at a local restaurant every Monday, and some of my loves are cooking. I like working around the house, a lot of yard work, running, and I've become an avid bourbon drinker. So my customers and partners in Kentucky and Tennessee area, we chat quite often about that. And then I have a little dog named Liam, that's him, and he visits me in the office occasionally. He's kind of become the Scanco house dog. He's easy, he's pocket size, so he doesn't take up a whole lot of room, but so that's a little bit about me, and it's a great talking point. So if you're ever in the mood to learn more about bagpipes or bourbon, hit me up. We'd love to talk on a side note. So let's get into Manufacturing 100. So forever and a half, Scanco has always been about automating the warehouse space and the manufacturing space. And you can do that today by simply just logging into one of our applications and tying directly into Sage. So, every point in a manufacturing or distribution process, companies constantly rely on manual entry into a work ticket or into a sales order or to a delivery ticket. And that manual entry, causes backflow of labor. It causes issues. It causes raw entry, data entry, and you're relying on spreadsheets and a lot of reconciliation on a daily basis. So if you're relying on someone to manually enter something in, and then it's like the game of telephone. It's manually entered in wrong here, can't be read here, and it goes into Sage incorrectly. So we try to, really stop that. But also at the same time, we don't want to overwhelm the entry process and make it really too entry heavy. So it's fill in the blank, super easy. So we have a direct tie-in into the production management module in Sage, the mobility for manufacturing module, or through JobOps OM. The application warehouse 100, manufacturing 100 does work in both. So you'll see my screenshot here. You have parts usage or material issues. It's the same app. It's just different naming convention for whatever tie-in you're going into. But it's fully supported into any of our systems, and it talks directly into Sage. That's the biggest thing. For our legacy customers that used to be on our old work order scan product, there was an old work order scan sync that would delay the interaction. You'd have to push it from a dashboard and batch it through. No batching, no downloading, no uploading. It's 100% real time with Sage. And we kind of have two flavorings. We have a light option, which we're going to talk about here in a second, and a more advanced. But for the most part, all of our production management users, in this case, or operations management users, need something from an entry level at a computer screen or a handheld to be able to scan in those work tickets. And probably the biggest need for any organization is labor entry. Whether it's direct or indirect, you need to get it in quickly. And this eliminates all those manual data entry tasks and immediate, instant satisfaction and gratification you have for capturing all that on the floor back into your system in Sage with no downtime or uptime. So we launched Manufacturing 100. We actually did a relaunch of it this past year, and we kind of broke it down into two different packages, a light and a more advanced usage. The biggest difference between the two is a lot of the auto push through that you can from the dashboard. Even though it does go right into Sage, it still kind of stays in the back end where you as a manager have the ability to review those things. But out of the box, we find that the majority of our customers in the manufacturing world, even though they do care about issuing parts or completions or monitoring that, labor is the biggest thing. So to be able to clock in and clock out of a work ticket's huge. We do allow you to change work centers or status codes if that's a need be. But for the most part, we want to keep it simple. John Smith clocked in at this time and he clocked out at this time. We do allow for time dilution as well, which is a big thing. So you can actually evenly split the time across a work ticket. Or you can, put the same amount against all the work tickets. So if I was in a work ticket, if I clocked in 2 of them over the course of an hour, each work ticket would get an hour, or each work ticket would get 30 minutes, depending on how you have it set up and allowed it. And again, these are all allowances and changes you have full control over and access to in our portal on the back end. Some of the other enhancements are completions, time card entry, if you want to log right into your payroll system, and it is compatible with our multi-bin system. Something we're not going to be really focusing on today is our multi-bin product. That's going to be a future, webinar in the future. But for those of you who don't know about our product, we do have an enhancement called multi-bin that lives directly inside of Sage and takes standard Sage, where it's a 1-to-1 ratio, 1 item to 1 bin in 1 warehouse, and allows you to have multiple bins spread throughout, whether it's pick bins, staging bins, whip bins in this case, or completion bins. You can track inventory in real time as it is on the floor, and it updates itself in Sage in real time. So it gives you that real finite control over where product is and how you access it. And then, just like I mentioned before, we do have a full dashboard. So when we do get into the demo, you'll see how everything is kind of tied in together. And then our software does have that personal feel and touch to our product. So you can actually set up a different user interface for every employee that logs in and accesses our software. So PM Plus. So for our legacy customers, this is probably not too new, the whole make to order functionality. So back in the day, in the work order days, we had an enhancement called make to order. And so this is the new tie-in to production management that wasn't, on the original rollout of production management. This is our own product. To kind of back up a little bit, Sage contracted Scanco a couple of years ago to write the production management module. We have since turned over the keys and the code and everything to Sage. So moving on from Sage 2022 and up, it's fully Sage, fully supported by Sage, except this is our own unique tie-in Production Management Plus. It's a standard, it's an offshoot, it's subscription, not license-based, you just pay for it annually. However many Sage users you have to access PM, it accesses this. What's unique is this does not live in the production management module, it lives in the sales order module, because the whole tie-in is to be able to tie in a sales order and a work ticket quickly and evenly together. It's primarily and it's solely focused on PM users, even though we did talk about how Manufacturing 100 ties into both OM and PM. This is strictly for production management. And again, it kind of bridges that gap between PM and the world of OM, which is a lot more advanced on the manufacturing side. And it gives you the ability to instantly create work ticket from sales orders and also explode out to sub-assemblies, which is a big thing. So, you have the ability to create work ticket types that are not make to order, could be make to stock. The ability to match work ticket status to sales order status. So as the sales order status changes from quote, it's going to go into a quoted stage on the work ticket, or if it's released, it's going to go to an open work ticket. So you have the ability to match it as the sales order moves and updates inside of Sage. It updates the work ticket status instantly. You don't have to go into both and change them or forget to change one and doesn't change the other. It auto issues all the labor, materials, printing. We do allow you to include order specific to CRISA report work tables, so you can actually go off of whatever forms you have in CRISA reports, and it'll print out those forms. And then templates or however you set up, we just go off of whatever those are. And then if you're creating from a bill of material, you can actually enter in additional details on the sub-assemblies, additional options. A separate window pops up where you can actually click on those, and it ties it over to the work ticket. So again, it eliminates the whole double entry. If anything, I always want to hit home with our product is we cut down, not only do we validate and collect, but we eliminate double entry. That's probably the biggest thing. Because after you start entering data, whether it's on a piece of paper that eventually gets entered into Sage or then gets printed out and re-looked at, you're touching it 2 or 3 times. And each time it gets touched, historically or statistically, there's going to be a percentage of it that's not going to be correct. So we try to eliminate that as much as possible and get you down to a 0% error rate. It's the eventual goal of everything. But again, that real-time effect is huge. And that's really what we hang our hat on, is the whole real-time integration of Sage. So let's get on to our final product. This is our newest release to Scanco. The one we're most excited about is SPA. So Scanco Procurement Automation. As you can tell, we decided to call it SPA because saying Scanco Procurement Automation 5 times fast is a tongue twister. So what this does is it helps you manage the entire procurement process from step one. Now, we talked about automating on the shop floor. We talked about automating on the sales order to work ticket creation side. That's all good and well. But if you don't have product to use to make your finished good, you don't have product to sell, then really everything kind of is a moot point. So it all kind of really starts here. Even though I showed this as the last slide, really it all starts there, because the whole point of this is being able to control what you have. So just like I mentioned before, on the multi-bin side, you can run reports on a daily basis to replenish work centers or bin locations, so you don't have to stop doing what you're doing, shut down, go find product and refill it. Well, the same thing goes with filling up your normal spots and locations with product from your vendors. So a couple of the highlights of what SPA does is it easily and quickly identifies critical items that you need to purchase and make. So it determines your inventory needs based on a whole group of settings. You can choose specific date ranges and specific critical levels and stock levels. So we're going to go through that when we do the demo side. It has a real-time Sage connection. So something that we've been looking for a while now on the development side is to be web-based API. It doesn't have to live in a separate system. You can access it from anywhere. This is our first really true web-based API program that is agnostic of anything else, which is great. So, but it does have a real-time connection to Sage. You can access it via the website itself and log in with your Sage user, and you can access it directly from Sage as well, and it opens up in that separate website. And it does sync up in real time, and it resyncs all your vendor data, your item data, and everything else. Secure and personalized, which means that you can have multi-user level profiles set up inside of it, as well as who can access it through the standard security settings and role maintenance inside of Sage. And PM Plus does the same thing, as well as any of our products that live inside of Sage. You can actually turn on and off those features within Sage role maintenance as well. Some of the vendor options that we give you are the ability to choose best vendor by priority, fastest lead time, or least expensive. So even though a lot of your product will have a default vendor, you can actually choose a different vendor to buy from that instance based on availability, lead time, and pricing. So it does take all that into effect. And detailed and editable, so I'll kind of break into that. So you can actually drill down on the item level. You can actually edit the GI allocations for purchase orders, but one of the biggest things is, I call it the 10-layer nacho dip, but it actually will do dynamic 10 layers sub bill material. So actually go down to all the subcomponent explosions 10 layers deep. So if you have a bill that's got a lot of extra components to it, actually looks at each one of those individually and tells you what you need to order and quantities for all those, which is a big thing. And it's quick and efficient. So it quickly lets you do buy versus make. You can change everything. And again, it's real time. So some of the other aspects to it are, you get faster insight. The efficiency is huge. And that kind of gives that whole, because it's real-time Sage integrated, the efficiency is a big piece. It helps optimize cash flow, avoid shortages, and you get to gain and retain control back over your ordering process. So instead of going through all the different modules in Sage and going through inventory management and then looking at all these different screens, it's all in one thing for you. And because it's web-based, it's quick, easy, and it's fast, and it's very simplistic to use too. So like all of our products, we take all of the modules that are kind of hodgepodge inside of Sage, and we simplify them on the screen to be able to use and access. So let's get out of this screen for a moment, and we'll kind of go into some of the main pieces and core functionality of our product. So on the demo side, I think the best place to start is on the Manufacturing 100. So as I mentioned before, we are real-time with Sage, and we run on our manufacturing products, or any of our applications will run on a desktop, or they will also run on a application-based iOS or Android. Now you'll see me in the future demos, we'll go off of iOS or Android to be dynamic and move around for warehousing. But typically the majority of my manufacturers like to be at workstations, right? They're tied to the workstation, that's where they stay. So I want to kind of give you the look and feel of how it looks on the screen for there. So it is a is a desktop-based client. And once you launch it and you log in, you have all your main core features. Now, we use this product and you can create individual and unique profiles just like you can with role maintenance and Sage. We have our own backend, which is our Scanco portal, where you can actually create a unique profile and user ID. And when that person logs in, they'll be able to access whatever transactions you have here. We also live in a dashboard, which I brought up on the right-hand side. So here's my main login here. Here's this. So if I'm doing labor entry, so case in point, we have a lot of manufacturers that will have 1 or 2 workstations set up that their employees will be just going over, clocking into a work ticket, clocking out. So it's that easy. So typically they'll run this on a desktop PC. They'll have a web scanner hooked up or a keyboard hooked up to it or a mouse. They can go over to labor tracking. They can do a lookup or scan in their employee ID right off their badge. And once they choose their employee, and if they're using batching, they'll go into their labor work ticket batch. They will choose their work ticket they're going to clock in against. As you can see, simple, easy. I filled in 2 things. That's it. I filled in my employee ID and my batch and work ticket, so 3 things. And it automatically will default based on that work ticket, their work center, their activity code, and the department work. The more advanced features, if you do wish to have those, is to be able to actually change work center, change activity code. And we will let you choose quantity completed if that's all you're doing here. I have a lot of manufacturers that will just use labor tracking. They won't do any material completion, so to speak, but they will do quantity completed within the labor tracking module only. And again, kind of goes back to, we give you the flexibility to kind of choose your own adventure. The product out of the box comes with all those pieces already. You have the ability to choose them as you so fit. And the ability is, the other big piece I like to hit home about is the flexibility. So your needs might change 6 months from now. You might have another growth spurt of an organization. You need to change how you do things. We give you that flexibility. So you're not just stagnant and staying put in just the one kind of bubble that we put you in. Once I track in, if I go over here on my dashboard real quick, if I'm a manager on that side, I can immediately see there's Javier clocked into this work ticket, Wayne clocked in a little earlier, and you can see date and time. So everything's controlled here. So you actually have the ability to allow them to send this right through to Sage, or just everything stops here. You have the ability to then go edit it, post it, remove it, reset it, all from right here. So if Javi got busy or Wayne got busy and they were on to some other work tickets, they're clocked in here, but maybe something happened, got a phone call, had to go pick up the kid, forgot to clock out, and then comes back in the next day and goes, oh shoot, so now he's on this job for 30 hours. In reality, he was only in for probably an hour. So now you can go in, you can actually select the actual date of today, you can actually select the actual clock out time, and you post it, and it goes right into Sage against that work ticket. And once you post it, it'll actually remove it from here if you so choose to do so, but you're keeping real track here. This dashboard also plays into our warehousing world, so future demos we'll get into, and webinars we'll get into that piece. But for now, you have a full dashboard that controls everything in real time, from material issues, labor tracking, and anything else you want to control from here. So we'll back out of here. We'll get out of this, and we'll move on to within Sage now. So you heard me mention before about our make to order functionality. So this actually lives inside of Sage, and it doesn't live in production management. It lives in the sales order. So under setup, I'll go to my sales order option, and we'll go to tab number 9, make to order. We put our product on our own tab, not bunched in with another one or crushed in here. So we have a whole lot of extra bandwidth in the room to, as we add on additional functionality to our product, it'll be added within here. So we got a lot more real estate to use from. This is where you can actually set your settings. And once you set it, you forget it and done. You can always go back and change it. And this is based off of role maintenance. So if your production team is the only ones that have access to this, then you just set those users up in Sage to access this, and everyone else will be turned off of it. So once you set your procurement types, if you wish to do that, you can have your creation method of work ticket automatic, manual, or disabled. So as soon as your sales order is entered, a work ticket will immediately pop up here. As I see, it opens up in a separate window. Matching the order type to release, open, or estimate is based off of the sales order itself. And this is where you set your default work ticket class. I have mine as make to stock right now, but you can also change it to make to order. Copying from bill of materials is really big, or the templates. That kind of goes off that crystal report functionality we talked about before. The effective date's huge, so you can actually choose to do the effective date or order date. And so it'll actually change based off of when that order is, what's available to use from those sub-assemblies. And it'll actually go off of older base product first or newer based on that effective date. And then obviously if we're doing a BOM, we will explode out any sub-assemblies associated with it. So for time's sake purposes, we'll go into one real quick. Go on the sales order entry side. Choose our sales order, our customer that we're selling this to. We will choose our lines. We'll make it simple. We'll just do one to start and a quantity of 1. So as soon as I hit accept, it's going to pop up the window, but there's also the make to order function button right here as well. So we'll hit accept. This one does have options. So what's really cool is it's based on how I have my BOM set up. My option screen will open up. I can add my options, the ones that are required. Will be checked here. Anything else, I can go ahead and add those in. I'll hit OK, and I will hit accept. And immediately you'll see here's work ticket 95084. I'll hit open. And remember, each work ticket can be tied to a single sales order, or you can have multiple work tickets on different lines within that same sales order as well, depending on what's needed. My work ticket class is here. My sales order number, 54. 54 are tied together now. Automatically, all my steps are laid out, in this case, 6 steps, with all my materials that are needed to make this one desktop. So no more are gone are the days of creating your sales orders and going and fumbling through and going into PM module, then having to match up everything together. We do it in one fell swoop. Everything's nice and easy. So as soon as I accept this out, hit accept here, I can go on and make additionals I need to. No more do you have to do the double entry. So big steps. So we talked about automating on the floor with Manufacturing 100. We talked about automating those work tickets that I'm going to be using on the floor with Manufacturing or PM Plus. Now working our way backwards, one more thing, we're going to get into SPA. So SPA, as I mentioned before, it is web-based. So here is my main screen. You have the ability to log in and log out with different users depending on how you have them set up. All the settings are underneath here. We wanted to make this clean, real easy. And what this is going off of is it's web native and it syncs directly to Sage. As soon as I log into here, it instantly syncs up all my inventory, my items, my vendors, everything syncs in real time. And I have the ability to choose different warning levels. So you can see here this little warning beacon light. There's 17 critical items right now. And I can run different queries, but if I click on here, the 17, I can actually have the ability to look at critical, standard warning, which are getting your critical level of that I don't have enough, or healthy. And you can choose the dates of when you want to run those queries. We even have saved queries, and you can even go down through and even filter out even more filters. Those saved queries can run off your saved query. And once you run that query, you can actually choose different warning levels. You can filter specific vendors and items that I mentioned. But even if you have a preset filter, then you can go in and filter that even more from that preset to make things even easier. So I'm going to go ahead and run a new query. It's going to find all my critical items or all my items that I need. I have the ability to sort, this is huge, by vendor selection by best price, fastest lead time, or my primary vendor. And then my BOM item selection, I can drop down and do a buy or make, and it's going to filter those items out immediately. So I'll go through here. Here's all my warning levels, the method level, my vendor here, and my order quantities will either pop up when I need it, because it is looking at taking into effect current levels, supply and demand, and any reordering parameters that you have. And after you select those POs, you consolidate them, but we'll get into that in just a second. So as I go through here, and again, I can filter out these columns pretty simply. And I'll go down here, and you can see anything with a plus sign is actually I'm blowing out that bill of material. So as you can see, I need 5 here, but as I blow through, it's actually going to go through and go to those sub-levels. And here's another one. So this is that 10-layer deep I was telling you about. So this one BOM has a sub-level, and I click on the hinge, and it's got even more sub-levels beneath it. So it takes into account all of those when I'm doing this ordering process. Once I select what I need, I'll go ahead and go through and check my vendor of what I want to buy. And the check boxes are here. So we'll go ahead and check this one. And we'll go ahead and check this one. And once you run your query, all you're going to do is then you're going to go and then create your purchase orders. All your purchase order lists are going to be listed here. And the nice thing about the order selection is you can actually consolidate by destination warehouse, by lead time, or you can choose not to consolidate the purchase orders at all. So you have the flexibility to kind of do as you so please to do so. So as I choose my vendors, let's see here, choose this one, and you can go to fastest lead time and then hit generate. And then from there, all of your history lists are going to be here within your history of orders. And so you actually have, from when you actually make your initial purchase order, it can go to another level of review. The nice thing about it is it ensures accuracy. So before confirming your purchase order, you're going to go right into the review screen, and you can even put different statuses on the purchase orders too. So it doesn't generate it right away. It's going to go into a separate approval process, and then it lets upper management choose who wants to do that, and then it goes back to the purchaser to keep creating those. So it's flexible, it's easy to use, and it defaults behavior based on your setting. So we'll go ahead and get back into the question side real quick, but I did want to bring up a couple other things. So here's all my contact information. Call me directly, email me directly. And then from a pricing standpoint, we do have a bundle, and remember, it's subscription. So there's a base price annually for the PM Plus. There's a base price annually for SPA. It's not user-based, but what does change is device licenses for manufacturing 100. So based on how many users you have, that's going to denote your actual annual subscription. So we are bundling all three together, and you do get 15% off your first year. If you wish to have all three together, you can do that. A couple quick questions before we move on is hardware, as I mentioned before, yes. So PM Plus runs right out of Sage, so it's going to run off your desktop. SPA is web-based, so again, right out of whatever you're using. Mac, Windows doesn't much matter because it's 100% web-based, but generally it's going to be Windows because you're already in Sage. And then from a manufacturing, Windows, iOS, and Android. Our work tickets automatically created out of SPA. So that's actually going to be a phase 2. So good question. And you mentioned, I saw another one about vendor payments. So it does take into consideration all your vendors, but actually payments and work ticket creation, not just purchase order creation, are going to be built into our phase 2 release, which we're hoping to do very early in this first half of the year is our goal. Yes, and lead times are considered when doing the work tickets, and you can actually reset those lead times back as well. There's a lot of more great questions, but I did promise to get you in and out within 30 minutes or right up against there. So any other questions, please email me, contact me. We will be sending out this recording with our poll, depending on what you want to learn more next. And don't forget the handout that I put in there to access, so you can access all the links on our software. Thank you. Have a great rest of your Thursday, and we'll talk soon.